Over 60? Still eating the same vegetables you grew up with? The same ones your doctor once said were healthy, the same ones you've sworn by for decades? Let me ask you something, have you been feeling a little more tired lately? Stiffer in your joints? Bloated after meals you used to enjoy without a second thought? Maybe your digestion's off. Maybe your blood sugar's harder to control. Maybe you just don't feel like yourself anymore, but you can't quite figure out why. Well, what if I told you that some of the vegetables sitting in your fridge right now, yes, even the so-called healthy ones, might be doing more harm than good? I'm serious. And no one's talking about it. You see, the truth is, your body isn't the same at 60, 70, or 80 as it was at 30 or 40. And that means the food you eat, and how your body responds to it, has changed too. What used to help your heart, your joints, your gut, could now be silently making you feel worse. Not because the vegetables themselves are bad, but because your needs are different now. Your digestion is more sensitive. Your joints are more inflamed. Your blood sugar is more reactive. Your body is telling you it needs a new kind of care. But here's the good news, you don't need to cut out everything. You just need to know which 4 vegetables to avoid completely, and which 4 to lean into like your life depends on it, because in some ways, it just might. Stick with me. Because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to toss from your plate and what to start enjoying again, not just to live longer, but to live stronger, clearer, and better. So go ahead, pause whatever you're doing. Turn up the volume. And listen closely. This could be one of the most important health decisions you make today. And hey, before we dive in, drop a comment below that says I'm 60 plus and watching. If you're ready to take back control of your energy, your body, and your health. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for Seniorscare, because here, we don't just talk health, we protect it. Let's get into it. Let's start with a big one, raw cruciferous vegetables. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wait a minute, aren't those the healthy ones? You've probably been told that raw broccoli, cauliflower, or even cabbage are superfoods. You might have even added them to your plate proudly, thinking you're doing the right thing. But let me tell you a quick story. There's a gentleman named Mr. Jones, 68 years old, retired schoolteacher, sharp as ever. He loved his daily salads. Every morning, he'd chop up fresh broccoli and toss it in raw with a little vinaigrette. He believed he was fueling his body. But then something strange happened. He started feeling bloated, sluggish, tired after lunch. His energy dipped by mid-afternoon. At first, he brushed it off, just old age, he thought. But it got worse. So he finally went in for a checkup. Turns out, those raw veggies were working against him. You see, cruciferous vegetables, like broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, they contain compounds called goitrogens. Now, these aren't dangerous in small amounts. But when eaten raw, they can interfere with how your thyroid functions. And your thyroid? It's the control center for your metabolism. For someone in their 60s or 70s, when the metabolism is already slowing down, this can tip the balance. Here's the science in plain English, goitrogens block your body's ability to use iodine. Without enough iodine, your thyroid can't produce the hormones that help keep your energy steady, your digestion smooth, and your brain sharp. The result? Fatigue. Weight changes. Digestive issues. Even mood shifts. And here's the kicker. Most people never connect the dots. They assume they're just getting older. But what they're really doing is unknowingly feeding their body something it no longer tolerates. Let's clear up the misconception here. Raw doesn't always mean better. Especially as we age. Your digestive system becomes more sensitive. Your nutrient absorption shifts. The things that used to serve you may now be silently dragging you down. So what's the fix? Simple. Steam your cruciferous vegetables. Lightly cook them. Just enough to reduce those goitrogens, but still keep all the fiber and nutrients you need. When Mr. Jones made that switch, just 2 weeks later, his bloating reduced, his energy improved, and lunch no longer made him feel like taking a nap. A small change, with a big impact. And that's what this is all about. Small changes. Smarter choices. Because your body deserves better than the habits of your past. Now, speaking of digestion, let's talk about another vegetable that sounds innocent, maybe even healthy, but could be doing a number on your gut. Especially if you've been dealing with joint stiffness or unexplained inflammation. Let's move on to the next one. Now, let's talk about one of the most surprising groups of vegetables that may be quietly fueling inflammation in your body: nightshades. Now don't let the name throw you off. You've probably eaten nightshades your whole life. They include tomatoes, eggplants, bell peppers, and even white potatoes. Beautiful colors, rich in flavor, often tossed into stews, sauces, and salads. They look healthy. They feel healthy. But for many people over 60, especially those with arthritis, joint pain, or autoimmune issues, they might be a hidden source of discomfort. Let me tell you about someone I knew. Let's call her Mrs. Helen. She was in her early 70s. Spry, independent, still gardening in her backyard. But she had this nagging pain in her hands and knees, deep, aching, unpredictable. Doctors called it arthritis and gave her pills. Some days were better. Others, not so much. One afternoon, while talking to her daughter, who happened to be a nutritionist, they discussed diet. Her daughter gently suggested cutting out nightshades for just a few weeks. Mrs. Helen was skeptical. "You mean no tomatoes in my stew? No roasted peppers? That's half my cookbook." But she gave it a try. 2 weeks. No tomatoes. No peppers. No eggplant. No potatoes. And just like that, her stiffness eased. Her morning pain became manageable. She could open jars again. Go on walks without wincing. It wasn't a miracle cure, but it was a turning point. Now here's why. Nightshades contain alkaloids, natural chemical compounds that, in some people, act like tiny sparks inside the body, triggering inflammation. Think of it like a fire smoldering just beneath the surface of your joints. For young, resilient bodies, it's barely a whisper. But for aging bodies, especially those already dealing with wear and tear, those sparks can turn into daily discomfort. And this is where the misconception comes in. People say, but tomatoes are good for the heart. And yes, they do contain vitamins, antioxidants, even lycopene. But the truth is, not everyone's body processes nightshades the same way, especially not after 60. Your immune system is more reactive. Your joints are more delicate. And what was once a healthy staple, may now be a slow-burning irritant. So what can you do? You don't need to give them up forever. But try an elimination experiment. Cut out all nightshades for just 2 weeks. No tomatoes. No bell peppers. No eggplants. No white potatoes. And during that time, listen to your body. How do your joints feel? Is your stiffness easing? Are your fingers less swollen? Are your knees moving better? And if the answer is yes, well, you've just unlocked a powerful clue. One that most people never think to look for. Now, if you reintroduce them slowly and the pain returns, you'll know. Knowledge is power. And sometimes, relief isn't in a pill, it's in what you choose not to eat. So don't be afraid to challenge what you thought was healthy. Because health isn't just about what's on the label, it's about how your body responds. Now, we've talked about inflammation. But what if you're someone managing blood sugar issues? Maybe you've got diabetes, prediabetes, or just feel that energy crash after meals. There's one vegetable that sounds innocent, even harmless. But for many seniors, it could be the silent reason behind unstable blood sugar. Let's take a closer look. Now let's talk about one that might surprise you even more than the last. Corn. That's right, good old corn. You've probably eaten it since childhood. Boiled. Roasted. In porridge. In soups. Maybe you grew up on it. Maybe it brings back memories of family meals, comfort foods, your favorite street vendor. It's natural. It's familiar. So how could it possibly be harmful? Well, let me tell you about Mr. Ade. A 72-year-old father of 5. Proud grandfather. Retired civil engineer. One of the kindest men I've ever met. Every morning, Mr. Ade had a routine: wake up early, take a short walk, and enjoy a warm bowl of corn porridge before reading his paper. It was his ritual. His comfort. But not long after turning 70, something changed. His energy dropped. His blood sugar became unpredictable. Even after short walks, he felt lightheaded and shaky. Doctors adjusted his medications. They adjusted again. But the number stayed stubborn. Eventually, a nutritionist sat down with him and took a close look at his daily meals. And guess what stood out? That innocent bowl of corn porridge. Now let's unpack why. Corn is high in starch. And starch, when broken down by your body, becomes sugar. Not the sweet kind you spoon into your tea, but the kind that hits your bloodstream fast and hard. Corn also has a high glycemic index, which means it spikes your blood sugar quickly. That's bad news for seniors, especially those managing insulin resistance, prediabetes, or type 2 diabetes, which, by the way, is more common than you think after 60. And here's where the misconception sneaks in. You've probably heard the phrase, "It's natural, so it must be good." But I want you to really hear me on this. Nature doesn't always mean safe. Not for everybody. Not at every age. You see, your pancreas, the organ responsible for producing insulin, doesn't work as efficiently in your later years. Your cells become more resistant. Your body becomes more sensitive. That natural bowl of corn could be quietly throwing your entire system off balance. Now, does this mean you can never touch corn again? No. But it does mean you have to be smart about it. And if your blood sugar is unstable, if you feel weak after meals, if you're noticing those classic crashes, shaking, sweating, sudden fatigue, then corn might not be your friend right now. So what's the better choice? Try barley, a whole grain with a low glycemic index. It's gentle on blood sugar and full of fiber. Or lentils, packed with protein and slower to digest, keeping your blood sugar more stable and your energy more even. Even small swaps like these can change the way you feel after eating. When Mr. Ade made the change, he was skeptical. "No more corn," he said. "That's half my breakfast." But he gave it a try. Switched to lentil porridge, then barley with a bit of cinnamon. 2 weeks later, his blood sugar was steadier. He felt clearer. More in control. And the best part? He still enjoyed his meals, just with a little more wisdom. So, if you've been struggling with energy crashes or unpredictable sugar levels, don't overlook the role of corn. It may be sweet, but it might not be sweet for you. Now, this next one is tricky. It's often praised by doctors and food blogs. Used in salads, soups, even as a natural remedy. But when eaten the wrong way, it can stir up acid reflux, heartburn, and major discomfort, especially in aging stomachs. Let's talk about a veggie that may sound healthy, but might be upsetting your gut more than you realize. Now let's talk about something as ordinary as it gets. Raw onions. You probably chop them without thinking, into salads, sandwiches, garnishes. That sharp flavor, that crunch, it's familiar, it's nostalgic, and to some, it's even comforting. But here's what most people don't know, especially as we age, raw onions can be a real troublemaker. Take Mrs. Green, for example. She's 74, a retired nurse, full of warmth and wisdom. still does her crossword puzzles every morning, still cooks for her grandchildren every Sunday. But lately, she'd been battling something that made mealtime a chore, burning in her chest, especially at night. That tight, sour feeling climbing up after every meal. She tried cutting back on spicy food. She stopped eating late. But the reflux just kept coming. Until one day, she decided to track everything she was eating. And what kept popping up? Raw onions. Now here's what most folks don't realize. Raw onions are one of the most common triggers for acid reflux, bloating, and GERD, especially in older adults. Why? Because they relax the lower esophageal sphincter, the little valve that's supposed to keep stomach acid from creeping up into your throat. When that valve loosens, the acid escapes, and you feel the burn. And it doesn't stop there. Raw onions are also high in fructans, a type of carbohydrate that's difficult to digest, particularly for aging guts. This can lead to bloating, gas, even stomach cramps. And many seniors simply assume it's just part of getting older. But it's not. It's about what your digestive system can no longer handle the way it used to. Now here's where the confusion kicks in. But onions are good for you, right? Yes, onions are rich in quercetin, a heart-loving antioxidant. But how you eat them makes all the difference. The problem isn't the onion itself, it's the rawness. When you cook or sauté onions, just lightly, you break down the harsh compounds that irritate your stomach. You're still getting the good stuff, but without the pain and discomfort. That's exactly what Mrs. Green did. She stopped eating raw onions in salads and sandwiches. She started sautéing them in a little olive oil, letting them soften and sweeten. Within a week, her reflux improved. She could sleep better. She could eat without bracing herself for the burn. So, if you've been dealing with mystery bloating, if mealtime leaves you feeling heavier, not better, if that uncomfortable burn creeps up when you lie down, look at your onions. Not everything raw is right, especially after 60. And here's the big takeaway, the goal isn't to give up everything you love. The goal is to adjust, to eat in ways that match what your body needs now, not what it needed 20 years ago. So now that we've seen what to avoid, let's flip the coin. Let's talk about the vegetables your body wants, the ones that can fuel your energy, soothe inflammation, and support healthy aging from the inside out. The best part? These veggies don't just prevent harm, they actively help you feel stronger, lighter, clearer. Let's get into the 4 vegetables you should be eating every single week, without fail. Now that we've cleared out the troublemakers, let's make room for something truly powerful. Spinach. But not just any spinach. Lightly cooked spinach. Now I know, spinach isn't exactly new to the scene. You've seen it in cartoons, on dinner plates, in smoothies. But here's the thing, when you hit your 60s and beyond, spinach becomes less of a trendy green, and more of a daily necessity. Let me tell you a story about Mr. Raymond, a 69-year-old retired firefighter. Tough guy. Spent most of his life charging into burning buildings. But after retirement, he started feeling more tired than usual. Getting out of bed felt like lifting bricks. He chalked it up to age, until his daughter suggested a simple change. "Dad," she said, "just add spinach to your eggs in the morning. See what happens." Skeptical but willing, he sautéed a handful with olive oil and garlic. And he did that 3 times a week. 2 weeks later, he noticed something. He wasn't dragging his feet in the mornings. His head felt clearer. His hands, always cold, were finally warm again. Now here's why. Spinach is a circulation superstar. It's packed with iron, which helps carry oxygen through your blood. It's rich in magnesium, which keeps your heart rhythm steady and your nerves calm. And it's loaded with folate, a key vitamin that protects your brain and supports mood. That means better energy, sharper memory, and fewer of those frustrating brain fog moments that sneak up as we get older. But here's where a lot of folks get it wrong. Raw spinach? It's harder for your body to absorb the good stuff. Why? Because spinach also contains oxalates, natural compounds that bind to calcium and iron and block absorption. That's why cooking it, just a little, unlocks its benefits. Lightly sauté it. Steam it. Toss it into soups. You don't need to drown it in oil or boil it to death. Just warm it enough to soften the oxalates and make those nutrients easier to use. And it's so versatile. You can add it to breakfast eggs, fold it into brown rice, mix it with lentils, even blend it into a warm soup for dinner. What I love most is that spinach works quietly. It doesn't scream for attention. But it builds your strength from the inside out, circulation, brain health, muscle support, all in one green. And Mr. Raymond? He stuck with it. Not because someone forced him, but because he felt the difference. And once you feel stronger, really stronger, you don't want to go back. So if you're looking for one small shift with big results, start with spinach. And remember, lightly cooked is key. Now, let's keep going. Because there's a golden root you've probably seen in your kitchen drawer, and when it comes to reducing inflammation and protecting your joints, this next vegetable is worth its weight in gold. Let's shine the spotlight on another quiet hero of senior health. Carrots. Yes, those humble orange sticks you've crunched on since childhood. Now, you might think of them as rabbit food or a side dish for pot roast. But for older adults, carrots are so much more than just a crunchy snack. Let me tell you about Ms. Evelyn, a retired nurse in her early 70s. She was sharp, organized, and always 3 steps ahead. But one thing she feared most was losing her eyesight. Her mother had struggled with macular degeneration. And Evelyn was determined to do everything she could to protect her vision. So, every morning, she started a simple habit: 1 medium carrot, raw or cooked, with breakfast. Sometimes grated into oatmeal. Other times blended into soup. A few months later, at her regular eye appointment, her doctor said something surprising: "Your eyes are aging slower than expected. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it." Now let's talk about why. Carrots are packed with beta-carotene, a powerful antioxidant that your body turns into vitamin A, which is essential for maintaining the health of your retina and preventing vision loss. But that's not all. Vitamin A also helps your immune system stay sharp, especially in the colder months. It strengthens your skin, supports healing, and protects against infections, all critical as your body's natural defenses slow with age. And here's a tip most people miss: carrots are fat-soluble. Which means your body absorbs their nutrients better when you eat them with a little healthy fat. Think olive oil, avocado, or even a sprinkle of chopped nuts. So if you're having steamed carrots for dinner, drizzle a little extra virgin olive oil. Or pair raw carrot sticks with a spoonful of almond butter as a snack. That small addition makes a big difference in how your body uses the nutrients. The beauty of carrots is they're gentle, sweet, and easy to digest. Perfect for dental sensitivity, easy on the stomach, and low on the glycemic index, unlike some starchy alternatives. And Evelyn? Years later, she still swears by her daily carrot habit. Not because it's flashy, but because it works. Now, let's move from eyes to something even more sensitive in older adults: digestion. If you've ever felt bloated, gassy, or uncomfortable after a meal, if you've avoided certain foods because your gut just can't handle them like it used to, then this next vegetable might become your new best friend. Let's talk about zucchini. Zucchini is soft, gentle, kind to the belly. But don't let its mild flavor fool you, it's a gut-friendly powerhouse. Let me share the story of Uncle Bayo, 76. For years, he struggled with gas, bloating, and what he called a stubborn belly. He cut out beans, dairy, cabbage, even fruit. Still, the discomfort lingered. One day, a friend recommended zucchini. He started swapping it into stews, grilling it with fish, baking it with herbs. Within just a week, he noticed a shift. His stomach felt lighter. He wasn't rushing to the bathroom after every meal. He said, "I don't feel punished by my food anymore." Now here's why zucchini works. It's a low FODMAP vegetable, which means it's less likely to cause gas or trigger IBS-like symptoms. It's easy to digest. It's full of antioxidants, like lutein and zeaxanthin, that calm inflammation in the gut. And its water content helps move things along without bloating. The best part? It's incredibly versatile. You can bake it, sauté it with garlic and herbs, spiralize it into noodles, or stuff it with quinoa and lentils for a nourishing dinner. It's light but satisfying. Gentle but deeply healing. If your stomach's been giving you trouble lately, if you dread that heavy, bloated feeling after meals, try adding zucchini 3 times a week. Give your gut a break. And feel what peaceful digestion can really feel like. Now, we've supported the heart, the joints, the eyes, and the gut. But what about the brain? What about mental clarity? Memory? That sharpness that seems to fade just a little each year? This final vegetable may surprise you. It doesn't just support your body, it nourishes your mind in ways most people completely overlook. Let's take a look at the last and perhaps most remarkable veggie on this list. And now, we arrive at the final vegetable on our list. One that's as bold in color as it is in benefit. Beets. They're rich, earthy, a little sweet, and when prepared right, they can do something few vegetables can. They sharpen your mind. They bring back clarity. They gently wake up the parts of you that felt a little slower, a little foggier, a little harder to reach as the years go by. Let me tell you a story that still moves me. Mr. Anthony, a retired librarian in his 80s, lived a quiet, thoughtful life. He loved poetry, jazz, and the feel of paper between his fingers. But in recent years, he found himself struggling to finish sentences. He would lose track of thoughts mid-conversation. The sparkle in his eyes, the quick wit, started fading. His daughter, concerned but loving, introduced a new ritual. Twice a week, she brought him a small glass of fresh beetroot juice in the morning. Not a miracle cure. Not a trendy smoothie. Just something simple. A natural boost. Within a month, she noticed the difference. He started finishing his sentences again. He laughed at his own jokes. He walked a little farther. His eyes lit up when talking about books. It wasn't dramatic, but it was real. And here's the science behind that transformation. Beets are one of the richest sources of natural nitrates. When you eat them, those nitrates convert into nitric oxide, a compound that relaxes and widens your blood vessels. This means better blood flow to your heart, to your muscles, and most importantly, to your brain. Improved circulation brings more oxygen and nutrients where they're needed most. The result? More clarity, more alertness, better mood, even improved endurance during daily tasks. Now, don't worry, you don't have to juice beets to get the benefits. You can roast them in the oven with a little olive oil and rosemary. Add them to salads, blend them into soups, or even dice them into stews. But one note of caution, beets are high in oxalates, which can contribute to kidney stones in those who are prone. So if you've had stones in the past, enjoy them in moderation. A few servings a week is enough to see real benefits without going overboard. What I love most about beets is this: they don't just feed your body. They awaken your spirit. They bring you back into the moment. They remind you that you're still here, still vibrant, still capable of deep thought, creativity, and presence. And now you've seen it. For vegetables to let go of, because they're no longer serving you. And for to embrace, because they meet you where you are now. They support the version of you that's wiser, more seasoned, and more in tune with what your body truly needs. Because let's be honest, this isn't just about food. It's about your energy, your independence, your mood. It's about how you show up each day, how you move, how you feel, how you think. And those choices? They add up. They either drain you quietly, or rebuild you slowly, one bite at a time. So as you look at your next meal, I want you to pause. Think about what you're feeding, not just your stomach, but your heart, your bones, your brain, your future self. The power is on your plate. Let's choose wisely, because you deserve to feel good again. You deserve to feel strong. And it starts here. Now I know. It's tough to hear that some of your favorite vegetables, the ones you've trusted for decades, might actually be causing harm. That raw broccoli in your salad. That splash of tomato in your stew. Even that innocent ear of corn on a Sunday afternoon. You've built memories around these foods. You've shared them with family. They've been part of your rhythm, your routine. And now, someone's telling you to pause. To question. To maybe let go. And I hear you. Change isn't easy. Especially when it comes to the foods that feel like home. But here's the truth that matters more, now you know. Now you're not guessing in the dark. Now, you're not wondering why your energy dips or your stomach hurts or your joints ache. You have answers. And answers give you power. Because you're not just avoiding danger, you're choosing something better. You're choosing energy. You're choosing mental clarity. You're choosing pain-free days, where your body feels like it's working with you, not against you. So here's my gentle challenge to you right now. Take 5 minutes today. Open your fridge. Check your pantry. Look closely at what's there. And just swap out one thing. Maybe it's replacing raw onions with sautéed. Maybe it's adding steamed spinach to tomorrow's breakfast. It doesn't need to be everything at once. Just start. Because small, smart choices, made consistently, lead to big results. And let me reassure you of something else, your health after 60 does not have to decline. It can still improve. Your body can still heal. Your energy can still return. Your clarity, your strength, your joy, they're still within reach. And it starts with that next meal. Now, let's quickly recap everything we've uncovered today. Stay away from crossmark raw cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and cauliflower crossmark nightshades. Eggplant, tomatoes, peppers, and white potatoes crossmark corn, especially if you struggle with blood sugar crossmark raw onions, a common cause of reflux and bloating, and embrace instead, white heavy checkmark lightly cooked spinach, for energy, blood flow, and brain health white heavy checkmark carrots, for your eyes, skin, and immune support white heavy checkmark zucchini, for digestion and inflammation white heavy checkmark beets, for improved circulation and sharper mental clarity. These aren't just food swaps. They are life shifts. Simple, nourishing, powerful changes that can help you feel like yourself again. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these vegetables surprised you the most? Or maybe you've already tried one and noticed a difference? Share your story in the comments below. I read every single one, and I'd love to hear what's working for you. And if this video helped you or someone you love, don't forget to subscribe to Seniorscare. We share thoughtful, tested, and trusted tips every single week. Because you deserve care, not confusion, clarity, not chaos. And finally, thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for taking your health seriously. And thank you for being the kind of person who keeps learning, growing, and fighting for a better tomorrow. Your journey to better health after 60? It's just beginning. And we'll be right here, every step of the way. Until next time, stay strong, stay kind, and stay well.